And
This shit's fire.
what is up, everybody? Listen, this is the second time y'all get to see me today because this is my second podcast of the day. And as you guys already know, it's brought to you by Bison and Jack. This is what I tell everybody, right? So listen, you're a road racer, whether you're a track day junkie, want to get into track days, you're a street guy, you ride a little Honda Grom, whatever it is, you're looking for a leather suit. Do not buy an off-the-rack suit. They fit, but they're not a perfect fit. So you compromise in areas on the bike and it hinders your riding, your body position, and everything, right? And why would you want to do that when you can simply go to bison.com, use a discount code, Pendergas 2024, get 10% off everything there, where you can get a custom, measured, tailored suit just for you. Okay, so you'll fit perfect on the bike. You have plenty of movement, plenty of flexibility, so it don't hinder your riding style or your position, and most importantly, having fun in those lap times, because that's what everybody is seeking. Okay, so go to bison.com, get it fully custom, any colors, and you design the suit, Jack, right? This is super cool. So you go in there, you pick out all the colors you want, all the logos you want, where you want your name, and all the logos and the whole nine. They make gloves custom made to match your suit. You can get a chest protector, you can get the undersuit, the whole nine. Trust me, no off the rack suit. And if you don't want a full suit, they do custom made leather jackets too as well. Same thing. You put on a jacket, it might fit you good here, but here it's not going to fit you good. And so when you're sitting on the bike, it hinders your body position, it hinders your cornering, your counter steering, and the whole nine. You want something that's going to be tailor made for you to fit like a glove. Ask Jack. He's a legend. He's super fast. He races all the time, right? He don't want an off the rack suit. He wants a custom suit. Whatever it is, listen, bison.com, Pendergas 2024, 10% off. You'll thank me later. Anyway, it's an absolute honor to sit down with the legend himself, Jack Mahaffy, coming all the way from down under right now, which is a Sunday. Jack, what is up, mate?
Hey, Chris. How you doing, mate? Yep. All the way from Melbourne, Australia. It's 10 o'clock here in the morning on a Sunday morning. Beautiful day. Sun's out. Pleasure to. Thanks for having me on.
Listen, the honor is all mine. Absolutely, the honor is all mine. It's an honor to do this and to sit down and have legends like yourself come on and get to tell your story, Jack. So we got a lot to talk about, man. And you guys, listen, we're gonna have part 2, 3, and 4, and 5 because me and Jack got a lot to tell and a lot to talk about. So let's get into it, Jack. Tell us how your journey began with two wheels from the very early age.
Yeah, so probably like most, derived from my dad. He was a motorcycle racer as well, and yeah, he's from Northern Ireland. So he was racing in the 80s, and he was on the old two strokes on TZ 350s, 250s, RG 500s, you name it. Kind of wish I was racing in that era, but basically he was racing in Northern Ireland over there, and he moved to Australia, and as naturally it happens, when I was 6 years old, I got my first dirt bike, which was a CRF 50. And yeah, that's where it all started, really.
I love it, man. It's absolute, right? So a lot of it, with all my friends that races come on the show, 9 times out of 10, that's usually how it happens. At a young age, their dad was in it or their grandpa was in it, and they get them a little bike underneath the Christmas tree for a birthday, and they fall in love with it, and the wonderful journey begins. And then there's riders that come on here that start late in life, 15, 16, 17, 19 years old, and that get into it too as well. It's an absolute honor story, man. I love the family dynamics when a young kid comes up and a dad used to do it. And so I grew up in the Navy. I grew up riding with my dad. He was never into racing like me, but I could see when I had my son, bro, I was like, yes, he's going to be a legend. This MotoGP rider, he's going to do this and do that. And he has hardly anything to do with motorcycles. He's like, the complete opposite, right? It broke my heart, but it's something you don't want to push on push on him because it'll push him away, right? But he loves to go to the races. He's friends with a lot of the riders in the paddock. So basically, Jack, when I show up to a race in Moto America, like me and Rossi get out the car, he's like, "All right, I'm gonna go find Yondell," and he's 11. He's off by himself, but everybody knows him. I don't have to worry about anything, which is it's absolutely amazing. Let's just be honest, right? And listen, we have our first comment already from James. James Donnelly says, "Love the show, guys. Can you wish my friend who's watching a massive happy birthday? His name is Ice Wallowcombe. Happy birthday, Ice Wallowcombe. Appreciate you watching the podcast. You, my friend, is proper mega."
Happy birthday, mate.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So listen, getting your first bike. Did you obviously do motocross after you got your little 50? How did all that work?
Yeah, I mean, after the 50, I just used to ride in a friend's paddock. They had a bit of land, just working on the basics, I guess. And then I got a KTM 65, and from there I went to an 85, and I dabbled a little bit in motocross, but probably I ended up more times in the hospital than I would like to admit. I think motocross just wasn't really my thing. So from there, I actually went to flat track when I was around maybe 9 years old, 10 years old. And we started flat tracking. So in Australia, instead of it, in America, I believe it's a big oval, right? Flat track.
Yeah.
Here, it's like a kidney shaped. So we have a right-hander in the middle. So it's a little bit different, and also our we have granite tracks, which is rather than clay tracks over in America, and we run different tires. So that was basically the start of my racing career, was in flat track, and because I'm from Melbourne, I'm only 10 kilometers from the city, so there's not a lot of places to ride around here. Our closest track was about an hour away, which there weren't many competitors. So in the first few years, it was I was me and a handful of other juniors, and there wasn't a lot of competition. So from there, we actually had to and as you may know, Australia is massive. So we started driving thousands and thousands of kilometers. When I say we, I mean my father, my dad. And we started driving thousands of kilometers per year to find the competition, to really kind of, get to that next level. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Flat tracking, to me, not motocross, but flat tracking's the best thing you could do to train for road racing. It's I'm not going to say it's not as high speed, because it's absolutely fast, right? But you don't have the jumps, right? And all this shit that goes along with motocross racing that breaks bones. Flat track, you don't have no front brakes, so it's sliding the whole time. You get to feel the front really sliding, not just a little bit, but the whole time. The front sliding, the rear sliding, the whole bike sideways, the handlebars this far from the ground.
Yeah.
You're this the whole time. Rear brake, just that. And then with you guys is different. Like you said, you add a right-hander to it, which is something that we should probably do too, because it adds a different dynamic, right? So, and you hear it all the time, Jack. So I'm right-handed. I feel more naturally going into a left-hand corner than a right-hand corner, right? It's like subconsciously, I got to think about it going into the right hand versus a left. It's just natural. I don't even think about it. I'm there. It's gone, right? But you guys having that right-hand corner, does that, you think, help that natural transition to the right be as natural to the left?
Yeah, actually, now that you say it, because I remember Marc Marquez saying something similar, how he prefers left-hand corners. But in whether in any discipline, whether it be flat track or road racing, I've always felt pretty similar from the left to the right. As in, I feel like I can attack each corner the same way. Maybe if I look on photos, like the body position is different from the right to the left, but on the bike it feels the same, I'd say.
Yeah, and that probably has a lot to do with that. You guys add that right into it too, where even over there in Spain, it's all left, left, and it's, I guess it's just that little bit of subconsciousness. Okay, I'm coming up to the right, and you're just more aware because it's not as natural, right? It's the left
Yeah.
side for us Americans and a lot of
Yeah.
other people, right? But
Yeah.
flat track, to me, everybody, listen, you want to get into road racing. I'm not taking nothing away from motocross. It's an absolute proper mega sport. It really is. It's to me, it's more physical than any other sport you're gonna do. Motocross racing. I mean, it's constant just
Yeah.
and beating you up
Yeah.
the whole time. Third gear's triple. And if you've never seen a triple in real life,
Yeah.
go
No.
to your local motocross
Yeah.
track and you're gonna sit back and go, holy shit, are you kidding me
Yeah.
right now? No, we're not. It is absolute mental. It really is. But again, a lot of injuries come from motocross training.
Yeah.
You hear it all the time, from MotoGP to World Superbike to Moto America to ASBK, BSB, all that. It's a great way to train, great way to train, but I feel like flat tracking is the best way to train. Um, in kart racing, you get little 50s, little 125s out there on the kart track. It's not high speed. You still practice the body position and, pushing it in the whole nine. But
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
listen, going from flat track, Jack, right? Transition into the roads. How did that journey take place?
Yeah. So I actually started quite late. I didn't actually hop on a road bike until I was 14. So, I mean, compared to the Spanish, they're on those mini GPs at like the age of 8, 7, and those guys they're just on a different level at that age. But yeah, I was 14 and I had a little GP 80. Basically, it was an RS125 GP chassis with an 85cc motocross engine bolted into the frame. So I think the max speed was like 180 kilometers an hour at Phillip Island, which mind you was like Phillip Island on that thing. It's like 98% gas.
Wide open the whole
Yeah,
time. Just
yeah,
bah! And for those that don't know, that speed he's talking about kilometers is about 90 miles an hour, I think, in
yeah.
MPH. So it's
That's
it's
that.
it's it's not that fast, especially at Phillip Island. You guys know Phillip Island is this massive, huge ass track, long straightaway,
Yeah,
Casey Stoner corner, Lukey Heights. Nobody will ever forget Andre Iannone coming down, headbutting the seagull, right?
yeah.
Dude, Phillip Island's an amazing track. It's one of my favorites, and I couldn't imagine being pegged on that thing the whole way, right?
Oh man, it's incredible. But my first race, well, my dad didn't actually think I was ready to race yet, and it was a state championship held over one weekend. And anyway, I started off the weekend okay. I think I was like in fifth or fourth, and there were only a handful of juniors in there, but some biggish names like Joel Kelso, which is a close mate of mine. Then he was on a little 70cc. He's probably about the height of I don't know, 4 feet, 5 feet. He's
Danny
tiny.
Perdosa, the height of Danny, right? Let's just be
Oh,
honest. Yeah.
smaller at that time,
Oh,
smaller. Yeah,
yeah.
but anyway, the Saturday I finished second, but I finished like 15 seconds behind, and I was starting to get the hang of it. I still rode the bike in a very body position wise, in a very like motor. I wasn't hanging off it or anything like that. And then Sunday came along, and I don't know what happened. I just felt like a sponge overnight. I felt like I just took everything in after Saturday, and then I came out on the Sunday just like no prisoners basically, and I won the state championship, and I surprised myself, and from there I was like, hey, maybe I'm not so bad at this road racing thing. So we continued to race the 80 for about 6 months before we hopped on the 125 GP bike for another 6 months. But yeah, basically that's how it all started. Yeah.
That's absolutely an amazing story, man. That
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. So coming from that, going to a 125, that's a world of a difference coming from an 85 to a 125 proper race bike machine,
Yeah.
And as you touched on earlier, yeah, the Spanish and the Italians, they're on those bikes at 6, 7, 8 years old. Probably before them on the little minis, the little 50s, you see all the
Mm.
time. I remember seeing Marco Simoncelli and Valentino Rossi on these little 50s with the Ninja Turtle on the back of the helmet. It was
Yeah.
a lot of fun. But the structure they have out there is not like you have in Australia, and it's nothing like we have in America, right?
No.
So they have the infrastructure to raise young
Yeah.
kids like that,
Yeah. No, that they have the facilities. That's something I learned down the line because I actually lived in Spain for a couple of years and Italy and another country as well. So I learned pretty quickly why, let's say, Europeans are so good at the moment and have been, over the last 20 years, let's say. And it's because, like what you just said, that infrastructure and the capabilities they have to ride almost every day makes a massive difference. And we just, unfortunately, we just don't have that type of opportunity here. I'm not too sure what it's like in America, but yeah, it's something that I think everyone's trying to work on.
It is. I think it would help the whole sport in general, not just
Yeah.
Australia or America, the whole everything around the world. So here in America, we have the best infrastructure we have is SFL Mini GP. I'm a huge supporter of them. Have you heard of Jillian Carrera? He races in the British Talent Cup. He's American. He comes from SFL Mini GP. We have
Mm.
Avery, the lap slayer Dreyer that won the Junior Cup last year, come from there. His sister Ella, Isaac Woodworth, Levy. I mean, there's so many people, my friends that come from SFL Mini. So basically, Jack, it's let's say you're 5, 6 years old. Your dad says, "Hey, I want to take you to the track." You sign up for SFL Mini GP. You pay your little registration fee. You show up. You don't have to have a bike, no boots, no leathers, no gloves, no nothing. They provide everything. You show up, register, boom. They suited and boot you. You put in a leather
Yeah.
suit, gloves, all that, right? So they provide
Yeah.
everything. And then as you get faster and you say, "Hey, I want to try a TTR 125, right? Instead of this 85, you can rent the bike from them too. So you can test it and then say, "Hey, this is our next move.
Mm.
Let's do that." So their whole program is the best we have here in America, 100% hands down. Not only that, they do young children, but older people too. Let's say your dad always wanted to drag his knee, right? But obviously he's not going to go out there because he don't bounce back like you do, Jack, right? Let's just be honest, right? So he could sign up for SFL Mini and get on like a little Honda Grom and they'll throw a leather suit on him. And by the end of the day, he's out there having the most fun he's ever had in his life. He's dragging his
Yeah.
knee. He's just right. He's hooked. So from this organization, yeah, we have a lot of champions, a lot of future champions coming up through it. And there's
Yeah.
other ones too in America. SFL is South Florida. Then we got ones in New Jersey. Um, and I think we have one out there on the West Coast too. I'm not sure if the infrastructure at Jersey is the same as South Florida because I'm closely tied to them.
Mm.
Um, but that's the best thing we got, 100%,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
nothing but champions coming
No,
out of it.
that's
So
that's good, and I guess the goal is to build them into riders that can go overseas and do well, right?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, absolutely. Um,
yeah,
it's just like you guys in Australia, right? We heard this. Everybody knows. Well, I'm not gonna say everybody knows the story of Jack Miller, but if you're a real fan, you know the story of Jack Miller, right?
yeah,
Not only him, Troy Heffross. I mean, Matt Mladen. You got Anthony Gobert, Aaron Gobert. You got all these legends from Australia that went to Europe to make that dream come true, right? And it's
yeah.
so expensive for you, just like us Americans. It's so expensive for us to go over there. It's the same thing. It's
Mm.
there's not
Yeah.
like a direct gateway, I would say.
No, no, but I think it'll be interesting to see now that MotoGP as new owners, maybe that pathway will change in the future. But for sure, for countries coming from far away, it's never going to be easy. And there's guys in the past that made it work, and um, it's a hell of a journey. I tell you that. I went overseas when I was 16, um, and I came back at the end of last year. So that was like just over 5 years that I was over there. And yeah, it was an amazing experience, but like it opened my eyes big time because I only raced 2 years, 1 year in Asia before I left, and then 1 year in Australia before I left. And then we kind of packed everything up. It was me, my teammate Joe Kelso, and my team manager at the time, Jake Skate, which is actually crew chiefing for Sean Dillon Kelly this year at BMW. Yeah, he's over in America now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's go, right? Who's not a fan of SDK, right? Come on, man.
love his work. He's an awesome dude as well, and he can ride a motorcycle. That's for sure.
Dude,
Yeah.
so listen, what was it like growing up with Joe Kessler? I mean, everybody knows Joe. He's made it. He's there in the world championship right now.
Mm.
I'm sure that's a big motivator too, as well, right? A lot of people don't realize how do I want to put this, Jack? Like for us Americans and you in Australia, in order for us to go to Spain, it costs a lot of money. Like basically, we pack everything up here and we move
Mm.
there, not hardly knowing anybody. You're in a new place, new food, new everything, right? In order to make it work and get you, Jack, your mindset fully in the game without all these other outside elements that you're not used to, the money backing, everything's got to line up and fall together in
Yeah.
order for it to work. Versus somebody in the UK that's literally eight hours away can just drive there or take a ferry or a train or whatever it is and go once a week.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. I mean, back then, when I was 16, it's like I hardly knew what was really going on. Like, I mean, I didn't have any experience. So, and Joel at the time was like, I think 14. So we were kind of in it together, and I think that's what helped us get through a lot of because the racing part is one thing, but as for anyone that's coming from far away, the culture shock, the language, the fact that you got no friends over there, or all of a sudden you have like so much time on your hands and you've got no structure, you have to like rebuild that all so that, as you say, so that things can feel. You want to try and make it feel as normal as possible, so that when you get to the track, you can do your thing. So when we went over there, it was like, it was just the three of us, and it was like really exciting. And but that first year was like, well, right, what have we gotten ourselves into, kind of thing. But it was a great time, and I think I grew closer to me and Joel, and I kind of relied on each other over the last 5 years because we both knew, what we were having to put in to be over there. So we try to see each other as much as possible when we're over there. And the fact that he's still over there and he's kicking goals, I'll support him forever because he's my best mate. But it's amazing to see,
Yeah, absolutely it is. It's versus like you heard Stoner's story. He goes in there, he had nobody. He ended up meeting Chaz Davis and ended up staying with him for a while and the manager and all that. But it's hard on an up and coming kid, as you was back then, getting your whole mind wrapped around the whole thing. As you said, you want to make it feel as much as part of your home as you can, because that's when you're the most comfortable and you can focus the most, right? If that makes sense. I could see where that would be really, really difficult. And I think that has a lot to do with people that make it or don't make it. Not saying that they're not that talented to make it. They might have all the talent in the world to make it, but if you're not mentally strong and have that structure around you at 16, 17 years old, being away from your parents in a completely new, it's a new world. Let's just be honest. Right? It really is. So that's very important to have that, that's why you have mates around you all the time, close mates that you got to be with wherever you go, and that's that home. You bring it home with you.
Yeah, and you got to push each other. There's got to be some sort of competition between yourselves so that you can push each other to keep going. And you see that now, even at the GP level. A lot of these guys are actually training together. Not all of them, but there's a lot of them train together. I think the Marquez brothers is a bit different because they're brothers, so that they have that natural competition between each other. So they kind of stay in their own lane. But a lot of the other guys, they train with each other because they're always trying to improve themselves. They're always trying to, you know, move up the benchmark every time, whether it be cycling, flat track, running, whatever it may be, you know. So and that's what I think needs to happen in Australia as well. I think if the more open you are to each other and you can kind of train together and be open about trying to get to that next level, I think that would make a big difference, especially if you're trying to make an impression when you go overseas, whether you go to a Moto America or you go to Europe or Asia Road Racing Championship. You know what I mean? You have to build the foundation here.
Oh, 100%. It's and you got to have the good people behind you, right? That believe in you all the way, you know, because once you get over there and you're alone, because sometimes you're alone and you got hours by yourself, you don't even know what to do, right? That's when
Yeah,
those uh negative thoughts, do I really belong here? I just want to go home. I wish somebody was
yeah.
here with me. You know, that's where all that comes into play. So yeah, it's
Uh, Yeah, no, 100%. I mean,
yeah.
I've been there, and not just me, loads of others. They might not talk about it, but um, you know, there's a lot of guys, and it's not even in motorcycle racing, just in sport in general. Like it's, um, you wouldn't call them sacrifices because at the end of the day, you're doing what you love. But there are things that you're like, damn, this is tough. Like,
Yeah.
what have you gotten yourself into, type of thing. But you just have to keep reminding yourself that it's the way that you're on the right road,
Yeah.
basically. And you know, my first year I went to do the Italian Championship, and I had it was a good first year because basically we packed everything up. We came off a strong year in the Australian Championship, and we packed up everything and put everything in a flight box and sent it to Italy. So we had two bikes and some bicycles and whatnot. So the only thing to get used to was the tracks. Basically, we were on the same bike. We just had to rock up, learn the track, and do it that way. So that first year was actually quite good because I had the speed, but unfortunately, I was just overriding the bike and I kept crashing out of podium places, which really sucked. And then that was the year that the Kawasaki 400 had came out. So they started to put those kits on the Yamaha R3s, which was like an extra 10 horsepower or something. And we didn't have one. We didn't know that was going on. So we got halfway through the season, and all of a sudden I was like getting blitzed down the straight. And I was like, "What is going on?" And then I did a wild card in Portimao in the World Championship with an Italian team, and I came out of pit lane, and I think my Italian bike had like 40 horsepower or something like that, or 42 horsepower, and this World Championship bike, the team claimed it had like 55 horsepower. So like the difference is massive
Yeah.
for a small bike, yeah. And I came out of pit lane and I accelerated and I was like, wow, like this thing is this thing is a different level. Like I've been missing out, type of thing. And I actually had a good weekend. I didn't qualify great because we had some problems, but we went from I think 21st on the grid and finished about 10th or 11th place.
Oh,
And we were the second placed Yamaha at the time because Kawasaki's were basically dominating the championship. So yeah, that was my first world championship experience. Since then, yeah,
That's yeah. Again, it's being a kid, realizing his dream, going over there, being in the Italian championship, getting to ride a proper race bike with 10 more horsepower.
yeah,
It all hits you at one time. You're like, holy shit, this is what I've been missing, right? Like
yeah,
there is a different level, even though it's the same CCs. It's completely yeah, absolutely different. And we actually have so my man Jason Doss, he said Chad Reed. Yes, Chad Reed's an Australian legend too. And he's
yeah,
big into MotoGP, 100%.
he is.
Derek Van, what is up, man? He says, "What's up, Chris? What's going on, bud?" Yeah, man, it's I hearing the stories of people actually going over there and making it and realizing their dreams and growing up riding different bikes is it's an absolute journey. It's a lot of sacrifice that people don't know about. Like at the beginning, you went over there with Joel and you're thinking, dude, it's gonna be so good. We're over there, but you don't think of everything else that goes along with that of being over there until you're
Yeah,
there. And like I said, you're there, you're going, holy shit, I'm not sure if I'm ready. If I signed up for this, right? You're like,
yeah, yeah,
but being there, you belong there. You Jack, you belong where you are and doing what you're doing, and you'll succeed 110%. Right? I say this to everybody. We're mates, and whatever dream you have, whatever realization you have in your mind, whether you want to be MotoGP, ASBK, 8-time world champion, Moto America, BSB, whatever it is, I hope you do that 8 times over. I believe in you. Everybody over there believes in you, and the most people in the world that care about you believe in you, right? So you're there for a reason because you belong there. You belong where you are right now. I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, Jack. And let's say you want something so bad, but you force the issue and you finally get it, it's not as good,
mm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does. Yeah, yeah.
So, absolutely, you will, mate. You're going to absolutely kill it and murder it.
No, thanks. I mean, you got Herfoss over there right now, showing that it's never too late to look outside and do different things. And like I've got an open mind on everything. Wherever there may be an opportunity or an opportunity that I can create for myself, I'm going to be ready to take it at any cost. So right now I'm racing in the Australian Championship, and with like a great bunch of people. Like my team is like absolutely amazing. The people behind the team are incredible, and the opportunity that they're currently giving me is I can't even really put it into words, to be honest, because especially the last year or so, I hadn't even been able to race. To some difficult circumstances. So to come back and make a little bit of a comeback, it's still a work in progress. But it's been a good year so far. So we'll see. We'll see what happens anyway.
Yeah, man, that's an amazing to hear, right? So those that don't know, you're an ASBK. Tell everybody what bike you're on and who's on your team. Shout out to all the names and what roles do they play to help Jack be the legend that he is.
um, so it's a Stop and Seal racing team. They're a relatively new team in the paddock here. They had the team owner had experience in car racing beforehand, but he was also a stunt rider back in the day. So he always loved bikes, basically. And anyway, Robbie and Claire had an idea to start a racing team here in ASBK, and there are I'm in the Super Sport 600 on a Yamaha R6, and maybe biasly saying, but it's the best looking bike in the field, I got to say. Yeah, so, and I got plenty of teammates. My teammate, Tom DeParis, which he's got plenty of overseas experience as well. Heck of a rider, learning lots from him. And he's the guy to chase at the moment.
Tom Topperas, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Tom DeParis, yep.
Yep.
And then we've got a young bloke, Archie McDonald. It's my other teammate, which is currently racing in the Junior World Championship as well as ASBK. So he's doubling up. So he's been good as well because for sure he's over in Spain, and him coming back and being able to raise the level because he's over there racing, learning and getting faster and faster. He's able to come back here and it's great to have that diversity in the championship, that the level keeps getting raised, whether it be from myself, Tom, or Archie, or other riders in the series, because that's what the series needs. And I personally think that the Supersport Championship this year is the strongest it's been in a few years, and the depth is quite good. The top 5 riders can finish on the podium, so that's really good for us. That's really good for me because it pushes me in everything that I do. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's in for those who don't know, Tom, he's from BSB, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Yep, Tom Topperas. Yeah, he's an absolute legend too as well. And Karen, look, Karen Duffy says, agree, Jack. Do you know Karen?
I know Karen. She is a legend.
Legend, Karen. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Yeah. She's one of the marshals, and she's the marshals are the backbone of the sport. They help us heaps. That's great.
Listen, if it wasn't for the marshals, people, guess what would not happen? Racing at all. You have to have the corner marshals there. They play one of the biggest roles in road racing, whether it's cars, motorcycles, whatever, is the corner marshals, them in the ambulance. So we need those. So yes, absolutely, Karen. Thank you so much. That's something I talk about over here too, is I try to get people involved doing corner marshal work, and it's the best seat in the house. Jack, dude, it's not the spectators there. When you're a corner marshal, you're there. You're on the other side of the fence. You're up close and personal. That's the best seat you're ever going to get on a racetrack.
I agree.
Yeah, and all the riders come by and pay you guys much respect for doing what you do, because again, without you, they wouldn't be able to do what they do and give us the show. So
that's 100%. Yeah, that's right.
You are absolutely very important, Karen, and nothing but love. Thank you so much. So I don't know how it is over there in Australia. Real quick, just change the subject, but our corner marshals over here, if you do a Moto America event, you get paid. So they pay you to be there, and they give you lunch and all that, right? Is that the same over there in ASBK?
You know what? That's a good question. I believe a lot of them are volunteers, which again, that makes it even more impressive. But I'm not 100% sure on every round. So I would like to give you a straight answer, but I'm not sure. But I believe a lot of them are volunteers. Yeah.
Yeah. So like if like our main event in Moto America, if you corner marshal there, you get paid. But if you do like CCS or CRMA or anything like that, as far as club racing, they don't get paid. It's all a volunteer basis too as well. Which again, it's nothing but love for the sport, right? It's the best seat in the house, and you get to know the legends like Jack and all the other riders, and you are a commodity. You are uncommon amongst uncommon people because of what you do and the sports you love. So
no, it just goes to show the passion that everyone has for the sport.
100%. And Karen says we are all volunteers. Again, Karen, just like Jack says, nothing but love, even more impressive. So yeah, dude, this is so. Let me ask you this, Jack. Would you ever consider coming over to Moto America and riding?
You know what? Like watching Herfoss go over there and do well. And I know it's not his first time over there. He used to do Supermoto and things like that. And there's been a lot of Aussies in the past do super well in Moto America back in the day. And look, if I saw an opportunity to come over and do something over there, I definitely would. Actually, one of my close mates that I work with, Joe Marinello, he was racing over there in the Supersport 300 class a couple of years ago. And he said to me, like, look, the championship is amazing. The organizers, it's well run. The tracks are pretty gnarly, pretty crazy tracks. So and the competition looks super strong over there. So yeah, if maybe you never know. I'd like to come over. Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
100%.
Hey, listen, if you ever find yourself over here, you come in Virginia, you, your mom, your dad, whoever's with you, have a free place to stay at my house. Me casa, you casa, as I always say, which my house is your house. You're more than welcome. Come over and stay. We can go do some track days and hang out and
No,
eat
that'd
proper American food and proper American beer and feel bloated and fat and yeah, all that good shit, right? Yeah, for sure.
no,
So
that'd be great. I appreciate that, Chris. Yeah,
yeah,
that'd be
man.
good. Yeah,
No
yeah,
problem. Anytime you're over here, man, you just ring me up and say, "Hey, I'm here. I'll come pick you up." And yeah, we'll absolutely
yeah.
make it happen.
I'll hold you down to that. I'll
Hey,
hold you down to that. Yeah,
you got my word, 100%, right? And
yeah.
it's like, I think as far as to me, one of the best, and I say it all the time, like BSB's my favorite race organization. It's because of their super bikes have no electronic aids. It's all school
Mm,
proper way of racing, right? But they also, to me, have a little bit advantage over everybody else because everything's so close. They don't have to drive as far. They don't have to travel as far. As you said earlier in the podcast, Australia's bigger than America, but we're not
mm,
that much smaller, right? And it's same thing to go from my house to Laguna Seca, California. If I was to drive, realistically, it's going to take me 3 days. 3 days of driving,
yeah. Well, yeah,
and that's far. That's expensive to go
yeah,
do one round, right?
yeah,
Versus everybody in the UK, it's 6 8 hour drive. It's not that.
yeah. I also think that helps spectator wise
It
because
does.
everything's close, and I think yeah, that's what makes it difficult here in Australia as well. Is that a lot of the events that are on in each city, a lot of the people don't even know it's on, which is something the championship can help promote a bit better. But yeah, of course, BSB is a good reference to look at. But by the looks of it, Moto America, how are the numbers spectator wise in some of the rounds?
So we've actually grown. So uh we've grown a lot more since the bagger class started coming in, right?
Mm,
Because the baggers so I don't know how it is in Australia. So back in the day, if you rode a Harley Davidson and I was on a crotch rocket, there was no mutual respect. It was always we were the hooligans. We were riding the wheelies, the 140 mile an hours, getting chased by the cops, making a bad name for motorcycles, right?
yeah,
So, a lot of the Harley people and the baggers, I should say, they never come to any road racing events. But now we started racing Indians and Harley Davidsons, the proper baggers. It opened up a whole new audience,
yeah,
right? A new market. So now those guys come into the races and they meet the legend as yourself, Jack, and they get to know you on a personal level. You talk to see how cool you are, the energy, and then they physically watch you out there on the sports bikes, right? And they're like, holy shit, they're proper, right? So now there's a
yeah,
big respect and it brings more audience and different sponsorship too. So normally Harley Davidson's not going to go after Jack in superbike racing or super sport racing, right? As far as the sponsor, but now it
mm,
opened up doors for more. So our sport has grown all because of the bagger class, 100%.
yeah,
And to be honest with you, I don't know how it is there, but we can compare. So in Moto America right now, the only true factory supported teams, the factory teams we have is Indian and Harley Davidson, not the
yeah,
super bikes. Now, our
yeah,
super bike class, the closest thing we have to a full factory team is Warhorse Ducati. And the main reason why I say that is because you see Paulo Ciabatti and some of the Ducati course engineers come over here and they
yeah,
work with Loris Baz and Josh Heron. Attack Yamahas it would be the second one.
mm,
I'm sure they do get some factory support from Yamaha, but it's all closed doors, right?
yeah,
We need is our sport really needs all the factories in road racing
yeah,
across all boards, right? Not just the World Superbike, but we need Kawasaki back in Moto America. We need factory Honda. We
yeah,
need factory Suzuki, even though they pulled out. In order for our sport to grow, we need those factories to come back, right? And we also need more outside sponsorships to come in. Um,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
It's difficult. It's just like Jack. You're an absolute legend. You're going out here and you're looking for, hey, I want to be in a rye sponsored rider. I want to wear a rye, right? So you got 100,000 riders fishing in the same little pool, but a rye's only got this many helmets to support however
Yeah.
many people
Yeah,
that
it's oversaturated basically. Yeah.
100% and
Yeah.
across all boards, whether it's a rye,
Mm.
KYT, HJC, Shoei, Day and Easy, AGV, a Revit, whatever it is, right? So we need outside sponsorships to come in and feed. We
Yeah.
need the new content, the new viewers, the new audience, the young kids. It's just like we stopped going to Virginia International Raceway. It's an hour and 20 minutes from here. Every year, obviously, I went to Moto America, but what I did, Jack, every year is I would take somebody brand new that's never been to a race before. And it blows their fucking mind. They're like, holy shit, are you kidding me right now? And now they're massive fans, right? Even little kids, come on, let's go, right? I'll buy your ticket. It's not a problem. Look, I'll make it happen. And
Yeah.
It to help grow the sport and show the love, the passion that I have, and pass it on to, older and younger generation, because it's very important to do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I 100% agree with everything you said there, and that there are some riders out there that are able to promote motorcycle racing outside the industry, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
And they're able to bring the sponsors that you think doesn't make sense and make it make sense and bring it into the industry. Maybe, for example, OnlyFans, or yeah, or there's some companies that's like it doesn't really make sense, but later on it's like, yeah, why not? But that's what needs to happen. But it's one thing to get behind the riders, but it's another thing that the championship, the organizers, they need to make it attractive. They need to be pushing the championship as much as they can, so that it is attractive to outside sponsors, whether they're sponsors for an event round or for an individual rider, a team, or whatever it may be. But it's difficult, and it's not an overnight thing. It's something that I think if you have the right people, you have the right team, over a period of time, they can make it happen. And it's one thing we can look at. I think Moto America from the outside, it looks like they're doing it super well, especially some of the riders. Their social medias, or their the way they conduct themselves, and some of the creative ideas that they come up with is pretty impressive. So if I was a big company, I'd be like, hell yeah, I want to get behind that kid,
100%.
Yeah.
And it's not like when your dad was growing up racing, right? The proper
No.
500 strokes and the 252 strokes. It was social media didn't exist. There was no computers.
No.
There's no freaking iPhones and
Yeah.
Androids and all that bullshit,
Yeah.
right? But now it's so important for a rider to have that social media, to have that presence in social media, to have that following, to be always. I tell everybody this: I'm a slave to this. I'm a slave to this right here. It's all because of social media, to do the podcast and all that, right? Because if you didn't, nobody would listen. Nobody would even know who you are. So you're constantly on the go, right? Same thing with you as a road racer. You're constantly putting yourself out there, looking for spots. It's almost to the point to where me and you are teammates, Jack.
Yeah. Yeah.
You finished second in the championship. I finished 8th. I got 250,000 followers on Instagram and TikTok and all that. You got 50,000. You might be bringing $80,000. I'm only bringing 50, but they're going to go for me over you because of my marketing, the way I present myself, the way I talk in front of the camera. All that's got a huge role to play. And a lot of people don't understand that and realize that. I'm like, dude, it's so massive in our sport.
Yeah.
And yes, Josh Herron, he absolutely murders it over here in America. He is the number one. Yeah, dude, he's brilliant at what he does. He got to the head of the game first and he ran with it. Now everybody's trying to play catch up.
Yeah, and the thing is, he might not be the fastest on the track all the time, but it doesn't matter. It's like he's the one that's marketing himself great, like really, really great. So, yeah. I mean, you can see the sport changing, and it's going to keep evolving. So you kind of just have to ride that wave, and me myself, I'm in I just started a job 6 months ago with Food Sport Boots. So they're an up and coming boot brand with big plans ahead. I don't know if you've heard of Food Sport before, but they're actually over in America now, sponsoring Rocco Landers and also a couple other riders over there. So I there I'm working as the in the marketing department. So I'm learning myself how it all works, and it has been great. So
Yeah, and that'll just help your game elevate as far as social media and knowing what to do. So it's all arithmetics, right? Once you hit that arithmetic, you stay there, then they're going to keep pushing you out there. Once you
yeah,
stop, like to me, I found out doing what I do, being a podcaster, like I had to change my whole way of thinking. So the way I answer questions, certain questions, right? Like for example, who's my favorite racer? I get that all the time. Not so much on the podcast, but messages. I just want to know because I just listened to the podcast, but you never said between me and you, who's your favorite racer? It's all my mates that race. You, Jake Farnsworth, Levi Batty, Max Van, everybody that I know on a personal level that road races, whether you're in Australia, BSB, America, World Superbike, all you guys are my favorite.
mm,
Um, because I'm emotionally attached to
yeah,
because you're a
yeah,
mate of mine and I want to see your journey succeed. I want to see you reach that level versus Pedro Acosta, Mark Marquez, all these guys that's made it, that's made the millions, that got the house, that's there, right? Most of these guys, Mark Marquez, Alicia Spargo, Jake Gagne, listen, they're on that plateau on the way down. They're
mm,
not on that plateau coming up.
mm,
Okay, if that makes sense.
okay,
So all my friends that race, you guys are my favorite road racers. I can't
uh,
just pick one because let's say Jake Farnsworth is my favorite road racer all time. But how does that make you feel? How does that make all my other friends feel if I come out and was to say that? Right,
yeah.
that's showing favoritism. I
Well,
can't.
Jake's my competitor, so
Yeah, Jake's a good mate, a good mate of mine too, right? So, and you are.
yeah,
So, again, I can't choose you over him because you guys are just absolute legends, and I love
yeah,
what you do, and I believe in both of you. Okay,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we're friends. So whether let's say you win and Jake finishes in fifth, I'm still going to cheer for him as if he won the race, as if he
yeah,
didn't.
yeah, 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 yeah.
If that makes sense, right?
Yeah, look, there has to be, even from a rider's perspective or a competitive mindset. For me anyway, the way I feel is I can get along with most people off the track. I'm pretty, I think, in my opinion, I'm pretty down to earth. So, but when the visor comes down, it's like I don't.
You're a Spartan.
Yeah, I have no mercy.
None. And
So
you're not supposed to.
yeah,
You're not, because if you didn't, you wouldn't be the champion you are. True champions, they have that. That's what they have over everybody else. I don't care if I hurt your feelings on the track. That's not
yeah,
what I'm here for. I'm here to do
yeah.
one thing, and that's this right here. Right
That's
now,
right. Right.
once we cross that finish line, right, I'm gonna give you a big old hug, man. What a great race! This and that. Let's go share a pint. Blah blah blah. That's different.
Yeah, yeah,
But when we're on the grid and the guy's the background green flag goes, the guy on the front raise that green flag, visors go down, the lights doom, doom. It's
yeah, yeah,
battle time.
yeah.
That's it. We're not friends. You're not supposed to be friends at that
No,
point,
no.
right? But
No,
there's
because I mean, if you're thinking if you're conscious on the bike, and you're thinking twice about things, whether it's passing someone or just riding the bike in general, if you're too conscious, you're never gonna be at your 100%. I mean, look at Lorenzo. The philosophy of Lorenzo was like a robot. He'd hit that same line over and over within 10 centimeters, and he trained that. That wasn't something he was born with. He trained that every day of his life with his dad. So to be to hammer out those laps, to be like a robot, to be able to do it so consistently that you can do it unconsciously. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's yeah, man, it's but that's what I love about you guys, right? I love this is what I love about road racers. Mates that I don't know that race, people that I don't know that I just watch on TV, and it's the same for you and Jake and all my other friends that race, right? You guys have such the ability to go into that kill or be killed mode, but as soon
Mm,
as you're done, you go back to that I fully respect you, even though I might not like you as a human being, if
mm.
that makes sense. But we still mates because we share the same passion and the same love. We don't have to get along, but we will to a certain point
Yeah,
because of what we do, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um, and the ones that can better understand that and split the two, I think are more mentally, I guess, a little bit ahead than everybody else that struggles with that. Because let's just be honest,
yeah.
the mental part is the biggest part of road racing.
Oh, yeah. It's 80% of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
110%, right? So let me ask you this, Jack. How do you let's say you're approaching a race weekend, right? How do you mentally prepare for that weekend? And do you have any rituals you do during the weekend as you prepare? Meaning, um, it's an hour before race time. You go in your motor home. You either listen to whatever music, watch a little TV, stretch, do push-ups, whatever it is you do. That's what I mean. How do you prepare for the battle for the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it starts the week before. I mean, I have to be in the mindset. There are some riders out there like Mick Doohan. I remember hearing a story. It's like his wife said that he was impossible to be around on race week because he acted like a hole.
Yeah,
Like that.
asshole, right? Go on and say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, like on race week, I need to get myself in the zone. I need to prepare myself. I start visualizing about each how Friday would go, the process, not the end result. Never visualizing the end result because that's an unknown. But I visualize the process, how I handle myself, how I can keep a tap on my emotions when things go wrong. So I try and visualize all different scenarios so that when you arrive to that moment, you're ready. You know how to handle it. So I visualize how I want to ride the motorcycle, how I want the bike to feel, how I want it to react, how I want to be on the bike. And all these things, all these small things help me feel more prepared coming up to race week. Um, the other thing is like just sleep and stay super hydrated. But sleep is the biggest thing, um, and just staying relaxed, staying free, not trying to. There's been occasions this year where I've felt very stiff, felt very nervous, and it's come to bite me in the backside come race time. So I'm just learning as I'm going on how to handle things. But
Yeah.
visualization, I would say, is one of my biggest tactics. Yeah.
Yeah. It's another question I want to ask you is, let's say your weekend's not going away as planned, because it happens. That's part of road racing. Not everybody's going to show up and have the greatest weekend, and there's no such thing as a perfect setup bike. I mean,
Mm.
it just don't never exist, right? So let's say you're on a race weekend, things just ain't going your way, right? How do you mentally block out the negatives and still put all the positive fours and still have fun, right? How do you come over that mental hurdle?
Yeah. Well, I've had many weekends where I've had to, turn it around. Let's say, but it's not something that you can force. It
Yeah.
has to be. You have to think through it because if you try and force something, chances are you're actually gonna hurt yourself. So if a weekend is not going the way I want it to, whether it like you just said, if the bike's not set up and I can't ride it the way I want to. When it comes to qualifying, sometimes it's best to just go, all right, don't touch the bike, and try and adapt yourself to what you have, just do the best that you can. If your expectations is my expectations for qualifying is always like, if I'm on the front two rows, I'm okay, because on the front two rows on most tracks, I can kind of make it work. I can get up into the top three or top five or whatever within a few laps. So when it comes to adapting yourself to certain situations or challenges, I feel like that's another strength of mine is adapting and being able to overcome challenges in real time. Yeah.
Yeah, so me personally, what I do is you're right. Everything you said is absolutely correct because it's not the same for everybody. What works for you is not going to work for me. So the way you handle it and deal with it might not work for me. It might, or pieces of it might, right? So oh, let's say I show up to a track. It's a track day, right? And just everything's just shit. The bike feels like shit. The corner feels like shit. I can't get my head around my ass for nothing on this day,
Yeah.
right? And that's such a mental struggle. I mean, how do I get in my own head? So me personally, what I do is I sit back, I do breathing, and I focus on where I'm good at, where I feel comfortable at, not the negatives, right? And the more I focus on where I'm good at, I naturally progress betterly, push that barrier back for where my negatives are. Now my negatives start to turn into a little bit of positives, even though it's a 10th here and a 10th
Yeah.
there, right? So instead of focusing on where I'm bad at, and that just mentally in my mind, so when I'm on my bike and I get on the track, I'm already in a negative state, if
Yeah.
that makes sense, right? Versus, hey, okay, 3/4 of the track, I don't like this track, I can't gel with it, blah, 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 blah. Instead of
Mm.
that, saying, you know what? I love these four corners. I absolutely murder them. So this is what I'm gonna focus on, right? And then as I leave those corners that I'm focusing on, I remind myself just to breathe and have fun and focus on where I'm good at, right? And then naturally, that's just what helps me mentally, right?
Yeah.
And that's everything. It's mental game's such a part of life, not just in racing too, right?
Yeah.
It's how you prepare yourself and how you deal with the situations is the positivity that's going to come from the end result, right?
Yeah.
And instead of all the negatives. It's you guys are at such a level, and you guys, what separates you from everybody else as far as football, soccer, all that stuff. Well, football is soccer. Us Americans got it all messed up. I just want to put that out there. Real football is soccer, people. Anyway, you guys are on such a fine edge all the time,
Yeah.
pushing the limit. And your contact patch is like this big, doing 180 miles an hour versus a car that's got a F1 car's got four contacts this big, right? So
Yeah.
you guys on the ragged edge, you're on the line so much between tucking the front and non-tucking the front. And when you
Mm.
find that line between tucking and non-tucking and you get comfortable there, you are amazingly fast. And that talent
Yeah.
you guys have to do that lap after lap, inch from inch, line from line, constantly is
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Well, I mean, it comes from flat track, like riding on that edge of grip. That's where the especially when you get on a big bike, that's where your speed is. If you can ride on the edge of grip and be in control, that's, as you just said, that's where you're going fast. But usually when you're doing that, you're in that flow state. I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but that flow state where you could go out and do 20 laps and
it's
not really,
nothing.
and not really remember what happened, because everything is just you're so dialed in. And I can remember certain periods or certain races in my career where I've like been in this flow state where I've actually felt like I was in a dream. And that's like, ask any racer or any athlete. You're in that flow state. You are at the best of your ability.
Oh,
100%.
100%. Yeah, and you don't
Yeah.
even, it just comes so natural at that time. So the first time I guess I really realized it, I was on a 636 and I'm out there, I'm just having loads of fun. And all of a sudden I'm like, I could feel the front with my knee on the ground and the way I pick up the bike using my knee and what the front's feeling. It was like it just all of a sudden clicked and made sense, if that
Yeah.
makes sense, right? It
Yeah.
even though you work towards it, and the more I guess for me, the more I think about it and the more I try to do it, the less successful I am versus I just get it out of my head. I want to go out there and I just want to have the most fun I can have, whether I'm the slowest guy out there or the fastest guy out there. That don't matter. It's all about having fun, but it's
Yeah.
also about understanding what your motorcycle is telling you. And I say this all the time, Jack. I look at motorcycles as women. They're all different. Even if you have two R6s side by side, they're both amazingly beautiful, but they got their own temperaments. They got their own uniqueness to them, right? Their own feeling and their own little temperaments. When you don't think about it and everything just clicks, it makes sense versus
Yeah.
trying to force it. It don't make sense at all, right? Or
Yeah.
something might start to gel, but then it falls to shit, and you're like,
Yeah.
now I'm mentally screwed up even more in my mind. Like, I don't understand, So
Yeah.
yeah, man, it is. So let me ask you this, Jack, what do you do for training? Like, besides flat track, you do any supermoto, bicycle riding?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I've been riddled with a few injuries this year. So I haven't been able to kind of do what I usually do, which is running. I used to be quite a good runner, but unfortunately, when you start banging up your legs, your knees, it's a little bit difficult. So that's something I'm working back towards is coming back to be able to run again. But basically, I just ride bicycles, stationary bike, and I think the biggest thing is bike fitness. Obviously, general fitness is a big thing, but staying on a motorcycle, staying on a bike, there's nothing really that compares to it. So that, and I do my 50 push-ups a day. That's just got to keep the muscles strong. And also, I think the biggest thing is like I'm quite tall, so I'm about 5'11". So you got to stay light. So diet is a big thing as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Uh,
5'11". I'm your height, right? So yeah, I get it. And I do 50 push-ups a day. So I do what I do is you ever heard of the Wim Hof method?
I've heard of him. I
The
haven't heard of the.
Iceman?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so basically what you do is you do 30 deep breaths, but when you breathe in, you want to breathe in from your toes all the way up to your head, but you exhale less than what you breathe in. You do that 30 times. And
Mm,
then you get this head rush, this euphoria going on because your blood and all this stuff. So basically, what you're doing is you're filling all your bloodstream up with full oxygen. So if you didn't do
yeah,
that, let's say, Jack, you get down, you knock out 15 push-ups, that 16th and that 17th, you go from being okay to holy shit, I'm really struggling because all that oxygen done went out your muscles and your body, right? When you do that, you fill up with so much oxygen. I got to the point to where I was doing 80 push-ups with my breath held.
really.
Yes. So I was doing two. I went from, I weighed 270 pounds as a 40-inch waist. I'm a
Yeah,
34-inch waist and I weigh about 205, all
yeah,
by doing this method. Deep breaths. I was doing 200 push-ups a day. So I did almost 4,000 push-ups in a month. But what happened
uh,
was I started tearing my bicep muscle away from my shoulder because I went from being fat and lazy to doing nothing to full-blown Spartan mode every day. Yeah, so I ended up injuring my shoulder. So
yeah,
went to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "What are you doing, man? You lost like a shit ton of weight." He's looking at my chart. He's like, "Holy shit, what you been doing?" I was like, "This is what I've been doing. This is how many push-ups I've been doing." He's like, "Dude, you got to slow down. You're
yeah,
not 25 anymore. You got to ease into this, right?" So I do my breezes. I do 50 push-ups, but I still do a lot of ice baths. Ice baths to me I love them. Is that something
yeah.
you do?
No, actually,
You need
I was
to.
actually thinking about buying one. Because I can see that they've got like little packages that you can buy pre-made.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Maybe I think it'd probably be pretty good for recovery, isn't it?
It helps me in all aspects of my life, not just recovery. Your
Mm,
body aches, your knee, right? You got trouble with your knee,
yeah,
inflammation, bro. 2-minute ice bath. You will once you start doing it, Jack. After a couple of days of doing it, your body's going to tell you, "I need this.
yeah,
I
yeah,
need this." Right?
yeah,
It's absolutely good for recovery. Um, So you can buy like the Doro Cur, and there's Polar Ice. There's several of them on Facebook, right? You see them all the time. The inflatable ones, right? This is my issue with
that's the one
those.
I've seen. Yeah. Yeah.
They're like $150, okay? But I can go right down the street. We have a place called Tractor Supply where you buy horse troughs and hay and rabbit food and all this stuff for farm animals. Well, Rubbermaid has one. It's 175 gallons. It's like less than $200. So it's $50 more than your blow up one, but it's this thick of rubber, right? It's never going to pop. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather spend the extra $50 and buy that because it's you're going to leave it where it is. You're not that if you bought something like that, the inflatable one, that's something that would be perfect for you to go round to round with. The horse trough one, that's something you're just going to keep at your house right now, put the other one away and take that to the races. So so basically you would come back from a session, right? Let's say it's your last practice of the day. You come in, out the leathers, swim trunks, underwear, whatever it is, straight in the ice bath, get in all the way up to your neck. The whole point of it is to get your breathing under control. Once you get because you're right, but as you're doing that, you notice that you get warm and you're not frozen. It's a weird mind mental game. Okay. And then you get out and you don't ache as much no more. You get recover.
100%.
It's so that's something I highly recommend. Another thing is
give it a go.
I recently got into this thing. This guy had reached out to me and he's actually in South Africa. There's these patches called Life Wave. Have you ever heard of Life Wave before?
No.
All right. So I haven't neither until just recently. Life Wave, they make these patches and you see like Lorenzo Salvadori, MotoGP test rider. There's all kinds of athletes. David Beckman. Basically, what it is, it's you got a couple patches, and this company actually sent me some. I just got them in the other day. This is them. There's 30 patches in this thing. Well, it has no chemicals or nothing in it. It looks like a little round Band-Aid, but what it does is when you put it on, it works off. Supposedly works off your natural electronic frequencies because everybody's body produces electricity, right? And what it does is when you put that patch on, your frequency of your body activates your natural stem. This patch activates your natural stem cells in your body.
Okay, right, yeah.
Okay, so you heard of stem cell. I got an injury. I went and got stem cell retreatment instead of 6 months and cut it down to 3 months. So this is supposed to be the same thing. So this company reached out to me, was like, "Hey, we want to get in the motorcycle industry. Your podcast, all this, yada yada yada, snazzy jazz stuff, right?" And I was like, "Cool. Send me the patches. Let me try them out. Let me see how they work because I go through some things. I got a bad right knee. I broke. I need another wrist surgery because I tore a tendon completely in half. So he sent me the patches. I've only been wearing them for a day. So I'm going to give it a while and see. But supposedly they work really well. But at the end of the day, man, honestly, dude, ice bath. I'm telling you right now, Jack, it's one of the best things you're ever going to start doing. And it's good to rotate, do ice and do hot. Okay. So do your ice bath and then take a hot shower, not too hot, but you want that steam shower or a sauna because those two conjunctions in together promote better blood flow, better oxygen, and all that helps you recover faster. Right?
Yeah.
So,
cool. Nice. Yeah, for sure. I got to give it a go. Yeah.
You got to, man. Look, the first time I did it, it was I got it on video on my phone. It was like 38 degrees Fahrenheit, which is absolutely cold already, right? The water was 22 degrees. Normally you want it to be about 50 degrees for your ice bath. Needless to say, it was absolutely cold as hell. Right? No bullshit. Yeah.
I can imagine.
But after the first time doing it, it was like an hour later. It was like my body was like it was different. It just I don't know. It's really hard to explain.
Yeah, no, I think it gives you a bit of a natural high. Let's say. I think that's what I've heard anyway.
It does. It's a perfect word. A natural high, and then once you
Yeah.
start doing it, it gets a little easier, right? It does. It gets a little easier. Um, but like I said, then you notice your body thrives for it. You're like, dude, so like let's say normally you do it at 5 p.m. It's 8 p.m. and you didn't do it that day. Your body's gonna tell you, like, what are you doing, bro? Like, I need this. Jump in. Let's go. Let's go do
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's something I just highly recommend. I really think it would help you out, especially with it'll help your recovery process, right?
Yeah.
Of your
100%.
injury. So you can
100%.
go
Yeah.
back to running and all that good stuff. That's why I
Yeah.
stopped running. I
Yeah.
used to run too, but since my knees have been so messed up, like literally if I was to go out and run for 30 minutes, my knee would swell up like this for days.
No. Well. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. Well, I mean, my knees haven't been great. At the end of last year, I had a crash out of turn one at the last round, and another rider went straight over the back of my knees. So yeah, basically just I was lucky I didn't do any tendon damage, but basically both my knees blew up to the size of a basketball,
yeah.
and they're just been I got like a big hematoma in my left knee, and it hasn't really been the same since. The hematoma is still there. It's like a big it's a lump. It's shrunken down heaps, but it's a big lump in my left knee. So my muscle in my thigh and my knee hasn't really been working the same since then. So, but yeah, maybe an ice bath is the way to go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll. I'm not gonna say it's gonna cure it all, but it'll definitely help you
Yeah.
recover, and you'll notice you
Yeah.
have because when you have that type of or any injury, when you race a motorcycle and you're riding a bike, other parts of your muscles. So exactly what you just said before I say this, in order to be ride a motorcycle, you got to be bike fit, which means you constantly got to be on a motorcycle, whether it's a dirt
Yeah.
bike, flat track, mini moto, whatever it is. Okay. But once you occur an injury like that, whether it's your wrist, your elbow, your knee, your thigh, whatever, your other parts of your body that I don't want to say normally don't use racing a motorcycle, riding a motorcycle, but don't play as big of effect comes in a big effect
Mm.
because you're using it more. You're trying to work around your injury, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so you're not as comfortable, you're not as natural, you're not riding as smooth, and everybody knows if you're not smooth, you're not going fast because you're forcing
Yeah.
it, right?
That's right. That's
Um,
right. Yeah.
so yeah, all that has to play, man. It's listen, dude, we're an hour and 20 minutes into this. It seems like we
Already.
just got started. I told you it's
Yeah.
gonna go by fast, dude. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, listen, this has been an absolute honor. So going into 2024, did you have any like big expectations coming into this season, or was it like as you approach the season, you're like, you know what, I just want to have fun and see where I end up?
Um. Yeah. Look, like I came from during 2023 and 2022. I hadn't been racing at all. I'd been riding bikes and training because I was actually coaching some kids over in Spain, some Aussie youngsters that are still over there, and so I kind of I felt like I was in the bit of a deep end. I did a wild card at the last round of ASBK end of last year, and as I mentioned before, it didn't really go to plan. It felt pretty foreign to me. It was like I hopped on the bike and I was like, oh my god, I don't know how to ride a motorcycle. It's like that's what it felt like. And anyway, 2024 rolled over, and I kept riding, and I got the call up to ride the season with Stop and Seal, and we came to start of February, end of February, I should say. And again, I didn't feel overly prepared because I just hadn't been riding so much. So we did that first round, and I surprised myself because I was on the podium in over that weekend, and I thought, I came back to it pretty quickly. And since then, like my expectation has just been to keep learning and keep growing with the new team and the new bike. So for sure, this year I'd like to be on the top step of the podium for sure. We've got the speed to do it. We have to fizzle out some small challenges, and we have to just keep staying on the road we're on and keep working hard. Yeah.
100%. Mate, you'll be there. I have no doubt you'll be on that top of the step
Mm.
sooner than rather than later for sure. And I actually got a question for you from Ja Rosso. I hope I said your last name right. He says, why are you not racing Ovale this year, Jack?
Because I'm too busy coaching Russo.
There you go.
Yeah.
Dude, John, you knew the answer to that already. That's awesome.
No, I mean, Jai's he's a great little rider. He's racing in. We have an Ovale series. Actually, I'm wearing the hat. The FIM Food Sport Ovale Australian Series. That the top three actually go over to Spain at the end of the year to race in Valencia, the World Series. So, and Jai is actually one of those riders that is, if I'm not mistaken, his brother is leading the championship, and Jai himself is doing super well. So, yeah, no, he's a great rider. Yeah.
I love it, man. So let me ask you this, man. I ask every rider this because it's important, right? What's life after racing, Jack? Is like you would love to stay in the racing scene as far as training up and coming riders, or
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't really think that far ahead because I don't know. Racing, it's one of those things. It could end straight away, and it could start back up again straight away. It really depends on what I want to do and what opportunities prevail. So you got guys like Herfoss still racing and still kicking goals. So I don't see why I can't be doing the same thing
that's right.
at his age. So I'm still relatively young. Just turned 23. So I think for sure after racing, I wouldn't walk away from the sport. I would still like to be involved, helping the youngsters coming up because I think I have some experience overseas and what it may take and what pieces of the puzzle you need if you want to make life a little bit easier overseas. I feel like I've got that experience, so maybe I can help some youngsters with that. So
Yeah, absolutely, man. And
yeah,
you're right. Age is just a number. There's a lot of people in the sport that still 40s and 50 years old. Look at John McGinnis. He's still doing the TT at
yeah,
what 52 years old. You got yeah, it's all a mind thing, but it's also the opportunity and everything else that goes along with it. But yeah, for sure you could do it for a long time, let's say. And listen, Levy Rosso says, what's the goals for the rest of the 600cc, Jack?
the goals
Yes.
top step of the podium. That's what
That
it is.
W. That's right. That W right
W's.
here.
Yeah,
Or what Wu Tang, right? Wu Tang W's, right? Yeah.
yeah. That's it. That's it. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, just keep working on what we're doing. We we know we have the speed. Just need to put it all together. So until that time comes, and me and the bike gel as one, we'll just keep doing what we're doing. Yeah,
It won't be long. Again, I say
yeah,
this, it won't be long. I'll turn on my Facebook page and I'll see you on top of the step and I'll be screaming all the way over here across the pond going, let's go. I told you it was gonna I told you. Yeah. Good
yeah.
stuff, man. Good. So let,
Yeah.
let me ask you this: out of all the tracks you've been to, what's your favorite track?
Oof, Magello,
I love Magello.
Magello or Imola.
Imola's
Yeah,
good too. Yeah.
Imola is a gnarly track. Those chicanes, they are like, I don't know how to explain it. They are so tight, and if I had I should have sent you a photo so you could see. But those you first hit those chicanes in Imola in Italy, and it's like, is this really for a motorcycle? These corners, is this for anything basically? But yeah, it's like I think they're like you're going like 50 k's an hour, and you have to flip from left to right. So that's pretty gnarly. Magello is just overall the track is just crazy, and I had some great memories there. I was quite competitive at that track on 300, on 600. So, and then there's some other tracks like Portimao in Portugal is an awesome track where I did my World Championship wildcard. What else? The Phillip Island, obviously. I don't want to be like everyone else, but they say it for a reason. It's a great track. So I hope one day I get to ride it on a superbike, because I feel like on a superbike that would really it would really be an eye opener. So
100%, especially Stoner Corner, right? Let's just be honest. That left-hand corner is just absolute mental. And you watch Stoner go through it and everybody else, you're like, holy shit. Like, it's just, he's another level when it comes to that. So let me ask you this. What's your favorite section of Magello?
I'd say, sorry?
No, I was going to say mine is Casavelli Savelli, that whole right, left hand, and then going right back up the hill.
I was about to say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Casanova, Savelli, and then Arrabbiata 1, Arrabbiata 2.
2, yep.
Casanova and Savelli, like, the camera doesn't do it justice. The actual elevation downhill is ludicrous. Like, it goes like, I don't even know. It would have to be, it just goes down, like so steep down. And you've got a little bit of positive camber through Savelli, so it helps you. And then up through Arrabbiata 1 and Arrabbiata 2, you're doing like 180, 190 k's an hour. And you're just like railing these corners and coming up through Arrabbiata 2 over the crest. It's, awesome sector. Probably one of my favorite sectors in the world,
Mine too, and as you said, Arboretum too, you come up over the hill, it's blind and it straightens out, and you brake hard, you go right, then you go left again, it goes down another little straight and to the right, and the S's, and finally back down the straight. It's I love Magello. And my favorite track in the whole world though is Cadwell Park.
Cadwell Park.
Yes.
Well, as a spectacle, I'm sure it's great. I don't know about riding it.
Yeah, I've never ridden it, but I got maced at that race there, and I'm gonna tell you, man, it's like I went last year in August, went to Cadwell, and to Cadwell to me is man, there's so many things not to love about it. I love everything about it because you start on the front straight, right? It's like a proper track. That turn one, Jack, is absolute mental. It's like fifth gear pinned on a super bike, right? And then once you come around to that left, they flick it to the right. I think they back change either once or twice on the super bike, but it's a rising right hand blind corner. You cannot see through this corner at all, so you have to know where you are coming out on the other side. Then the track opens up, and then as you come back to the back section of the track, right before you get to the mountain jump, right, which is absolutely one of the most beautiful things you'll see in your life. Full proper send. I'm talking about 6 feet in the air, rear tire off the ground. You're going, holy shit, right? Once you come over that mountain, it's like an Isle of Man TT course. The track is this wide, and you literally got tires 6-7 feet away from you on both sides, right? And that's that whole back section, and then it opens back up again, coming back down through the front straight. It's
gnarly. You should ask Tommy Taparis about it. He launched the 600 up that jump pretty high as well.
Yeah. I actually met Tom when I was there at Cadwell Park. So I had some conversations with him. He's supposed to come on this podcast. So Tom, bro, mate, I hit him up on Instagram. Reaching out to, this is one thing I've learned about podcasting, reaching out to riders when they say, hit me up on Instagram, man. You guys don't hardly ever read messages on Instagram. You don't, man. Right?
Tommy needs a kick in the ass on his social media.
yes. So
if you want, I'll pass the message on if you want.
Yeah, of course I do. Absolutely. So Shane Maggs.
Shane who?
Shane Maggs. He's over here.
Name.
Yeah, he's from Australia. I had him on. Yeah. He's proper. What I love doing is when I get guests on the podcast that are my mates now, right? I love to meet you guys in real life. So hopefully one day in this lifetime, me and you'll be able to properly meet. It'll be
100%.
Absolutely amazing. Cadwell Park. I love Magello, and I really like Assen too. Assen's got an absolute awesome flow to it. of course, I've never been there. I'm good on the PS5, right? Ride 5 and all that stuff. That's how, I play all these tracks. So let me ask you this, Jack. How do you learn a brand new racetrack, something you never been? Of course, you can watch YouTube videos and you'll get a track map, right? But looking at a track map doesn't do it no justice.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really yeah, I like to keep things simple. I mean, for sure, I'll watch previous races and some onboards, but like, there's nothing like you can't really visualize a track before you're on it. So I just kind of rock up and and learn it as I go on, because there's only so much you can really do to prepare for a new track. For sure, you can get markers and things like that, but with that type of stuff, I try not to overthink it. So yeah, that's my philosophy on learning a track anyway.
Well, I love it too, because I believe that, like, I try to approach life with that. Just keep it simple, right?
Yeah, yeah,
The simpler you
100%.
keep it, I guess the less out of your headspace you are, and the more focused you are on it, then
Yeah,
and so
that's
demanding,
right.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
100%. Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
yeah, man. So let me ask you this: growing up, who was your favorite Aussie racer, man?
Favorite Aussie racer? Good question. I mean,
There's so
obviously,
many.
like, yeah, I mean, Stoner was a big one, um, and Bayless was another big one. But like, he was kind of before my time, so I didn't really get to see him race much. But like, after, when he made the comeback in, when was it? He did a fill-in ride at Phillip Island, 2014, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yep.
he got called up to replace in the. I think he replaced Chaz Davies, if I'm
Yep.
not mistaken.
I'm pretty sure you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and you remember those photos of like him scraping his toe or the peg, and like all these sparks flying out the back in the day, like 2008, 2007. Yeah, well, when like he came back to do those wild cards, fill-in rides at Phillip Island in Thailand, he started doing the same thing. He started like scraping his toe, and you could see all these sparks. And I was like, man, that the guy is just incredible to watch. Like, he's just amazing to watch. Yeah,
Oh yeah, Bayless is absolute legend, dude. Him and his son Ollie, legend, right? You got Mick Doohan. You got one of my favorites, dude, is Anthony Gobert, the Ghost.
yeah,
You can see I got his helmet right here. Actually
yeah. You
got
got quite a collection there.
yeah, dude. I'm a nerd, man. I'm a motorcycle just nerd. This let me move this way. This leather suit hanging up on the wall. Big shout out to my man Eli Block that races in Moto America. He gave me his full leather suit and signed it. It's bro,
Wow.
absolutely. Yeah, I got helmets, but I got a move my thing. There's right there. That's Anthony Gobert 1999 signed poster when I met him
Yeah,
in Phoenix International Raceway.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and then I got Brad Baker and Sammy Holbert from Flat Track. Yeah, dude, I'm just a nerd, bro. When it
Oh
comes
man,
to
Brad
it,
Baker, incredible on a flat
legend.
track bike. I mean, just amazing.
Ab-
I watched him train in Alcaraz a few years ago. This would have been maybe 5 years ago, and it was like him and Marquez training around this Spanish TT flat track, and I was like blown away. It was amazing. It was good.
Yeah, man, it's
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, man. So let me ask you this, man. Would you ever do something like the Alaman TT?
No, no. My dad would probably chop my head off if I did something like that. My dad did a bit of road racing himself on the road, and like Northwest and stuff like that. And but he lost a few mates from it, and just stopped, and basically I felt like if I did racing on the road, I couldn't really give 100% just because of the risk involved. And of course, there's risk involved in on the track as well. But at least if you have a fall, you're into the grass or into the gravel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd rather watch it from the outside. It's quite a spectacle. Those guys have got some balls. Yeah.
big balls, right? Like the biggest ever. Yeah, it's that's my
Yeah.
favorite race of the year is the TT. To me, it's the most beautiful thing you ever see on two wheels.
Yeah.
And you know, I get asked the question, are why are you okay with what happens to people when it goes wrong, right? And my answer is plain and simple. People that love the sport, have the passion to do what they do, they already accepted the risk. To them, it's not a risk. To them, it's everything, right? Um, and I couldn't foresee taking that away from somebody that loves something that much. I mean, it don't make sense to me. It's real road racing is different than short circuit racing. It's
Yeah.
the mind state, and I don't care what they say, Jack. They can sit here and say, I only ride at 85, 90%. Bullshit. I'm watching you on TV. You are flat out giving it 110% at the TT, at the Northwest 200.
Yeah.
It has changed so much. The tracks involved, not the track, but the tire technology, the motorcycle technology, all that involves so much. The speeds are just getting greater and greater and greater. But to me, it's the most beautiful thing on the planet. And one day I will go. It's on my bucket list. I want to be that. I'm that crazy fan, Jack, that I want to sit there 2 inches while Michael Dunlop comes by me at 200 miles an hour. Just boom. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, you see it on the camera. It's like, well, you can imagine seeing it in real life. Yeah. It'd be pretty amazing. Yeah.
110% would be.
What's your thoughts on Marquez going to factory Ducati?
I love it. You're asking me questions. I love it. So I think listen, me being such a Valentino Rossi nut fan, because he's the GOAT, the greatest of all time, yada yada. Once he retired, my mindset changed. I look at riders differently. But simple answer to answer your question, I respect Marc Marquez so much. The way his comeback from all his injuries, the mental game, the whole nine. And I had a feeling when he got on the Grassini, everybody was like, oh, he ain't gonna do good. I'm like, listen, Marc Marquez is a legend. He's gonna be just fine. Once he gets rid of the Honda riding style and adapts himself to the Ducati and learns the way to use it, he's gonna be a freaking weapon, man. I think that listen, did Ducati make the right choice leaving Martin and taking Marc Marquez? In my personal opinion, yes. Before people bitch at me and cuss me out and blah blah blah, hear me out. Martin is younger. Martin don't have as much natural riding ability, talent, but he is proper mega fast. Martin is prone to make more mistakes because he's learning how to handle the pressure mentally, right? But what breaks him down, I think, is he wanted that factory seat so much, and Ducati playing Ducati games chose Marc Marquez over Martin, I think, for the fact that what Marquez brings as an 8-time world champ, 6-time world champ to the table. DG Dinalina, he sees the data. He reads that. He's like, holy shit, Mark can actually raise the bar, right? So to speak. Marc Marquez is more marketable. He'll sell more t-shirts. He'll sell more hats. He'll sell more bikes. The reason why I say that, you turn on TV, Jack, you look at a MotoGP race, how many Jorge Martin fans you see on camera in the stadium or walking around? Not a lot. How many Marc Marquez fans do you see out there? A shit ton.
No, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. At the end of the day, the numbers is what the decision is going to be based off. So, Martin might be incredibly fast, but Marquez is, the following that he has and the amount of people that would want to see him in factory red, it's just going to outweigh. It's just the world's unfair. That's the way it works.
It is, but the double-edged sword to this is what I was going to say is all riders are kind of in this situation, but Mark a lot more susceptible because of the injuries he's had. He's one big crash away for messing his arm up for life, and he won't be able to ride again, or his diploma comes back in his eye, right? So it's a high risk, but it's absolutely worth it in this case, right? Now, let me ask you this: knowing that, what do you think? How you think Martin's going to do on the Aprilia?
I don't know. That's an interesting question because he went straight from, what was it, Moto 2 KTM straight to Pramac, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So he's only ever really been on a Duke, on a Ducati. So I don't really know how he's going to go on the Aprilia. I think the Aprilia is a strong bike, depending on the circuit, and I have no doubt that he'll get there. I just don't know if he'll hop on it and be fast straight away. I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but it'll be interesting to see nonetheless. Yeah,
No,
it'd be really good, and to see Maverick go to KTM, like I think Maverick's one of those blokes that it might just click, with certain people or a certain bike, it just click, and then all of a sudden he's a championship contender. You don't know. So all these guys are at such a level where things can change so quickly, and it's exciting to watch. That's for sure.
Dude, we're in such a great history when it comes to MotoGP and all that, all the rider changes and the market changes, and same thing. Anea Bastianini on the KTM, right? I think, to me, Anea has one of the most natural riding abilities in MotoGP. His style, the way he approaches the corners, his body positions. It's to me, it seems more natural to him. Like he's not fighting it as much or trying as hard, if that makes sense.
I think talent wise, he's there, but I don't know if he. It's easy to say from the sidelines, but
it is.
Yeah.
Well, that and a lot of people don't realize, Jack, is dude, MotoGP is so cutthroat. And what I mean by that, KTM, I'm gonna use a perfect example. When Iker was in KTM and Daniel Petrucci was in KTM, they found out that they lost their ride during free practice too.
Yeah.
Like you can't get much more cutthroat than that. That's and then the pressure of being in a factory team such as Ducati. Okay. When you sign that contract and you show up, it's second and third. I don't give a shit. You're here to win and win only. And that's it. So that
100%.
added pressure is so great sometimes. I think that even the most talented riders struggle with that mentally.
Yeah.
Especially when you're not gelling with the bike. And no matter how you talk to your Dana engineer and the tires and the suspension guy, nothing's going your way. So you feel like you're a failure and I can't do this and this is not for me. And all that starts playing up in here. Plus the pressure, you got to win. You got to win. You got to win. It's easier for somebody being in Team Crescini and thriving like Enea Bastianini. Perfect example. He won races in Crescini. He gets 100%. On the factory Ducati and we're still waiting, right? So it's man, MotoGP next year is going to be and another thing too, a lot of people think about all these moves that are happening right now, 1 or 2 year contracts. They're going to stop they probably already pretty much stopped developing the bikes right now as we're talking because they're focusing on 2027. They're focusing on the 850cc bikes. They're not going to wait till the last minute. They're doing it right now. So as a company, this is me thinking outside the box, Jack. So you as Ducati, why are you going to still spend $15 million for the next 2 years on your current project, knowing your new project is going to cost you $30 or $40 million to develop, and you're trying to get it ready in time to be the best that it can be? So how much more development is going to go into these bikes right now as we speak? Not a lot. That's just me personally thinking of it that way, right?
No, you're right, 100% right. Yeah.
So it's
it'd be interesting. It would be interesting to see what unfolds. Yeah.
110%, man. Listen, dude, we're almost 2 hours into this. Listen, I'm going to get to my favorite questions. I know you got stuff to do. So listen, and then just stay on with me for a minute. We'll go ahead and schedule part 2. So let me start off with this. Jack, what is your worst habit?
My worst habit, probably hitting the snooze button in the morning. I suck at that.
Hey, we all do. I'm just as guilty, right? Tell us something we don't know about you. Tell us something nobody knows about you, Jack.
Oh, I'm not sure. That no one knows about me.
Yes.
I'll come back to that one. Ask me the next one. I'll come back to that one.
Okay. Let me ask you this then. Listen, you can invite any 3 people in the world to a track day. Anybody. They could be celebrities, movie stars, MotoGP, World Superbike, whoever it is. Who you bring into your track day? What 3 people you bringing?
Top Rack. Stop Rack, yeah. I'd say Wayne Rainey and Stoner.
Dude, Stoner, absolute legend. So
yeah, that'd be my 3.
Real quick, I got a little story about Stoner. I actually got a poster signed by when him and Marco Melandri on the factory Ducati team, that one right here in the corner. I approached Stoner, had the poster in my hand, was like, Casey, I'm such a huge fan. Will you sign this for me? He looked at me flat out and said, no, mate, and turned around. I was devastated. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, is this happening? Really? I didn't say that, but in my mind, I was crying like a girl, right? My brother was there with his girlfriend. So I handed her the poster and I was like, hey, will you get this signed for me? She walked straight up to Stoner and was like, hey, you mind signing this? He's like, yeah, no problem. It signs the poster. And I was like, really? What? Are you kidding me right now? But, you know, I never looked bad upon him about it. It just, it's me being friends with a lot of road racers and being at the weekend with them and seeing everything that goes on. You got to give people their space sometimes, right?
Yeah,
even though us as fans are super excited because we're there in your presence and we might not ever get that opportunity again, we seek to fulfill that. Sometimes it don't always happen, right? It never left a bad taste in my mouth, and I never thought of them differently. But it made me realize what a human being they all actually are.
Yeah. I mean, you got to imagine, like,
sense.
I mean, Stoner was a divider of a lot of people. Like, some people hate him, some people love him, and you just got to understand that those guys are going through it every day, trying to handle the pressure of trying to ride a motorcycle at 360 k's an hour and having to win for such a big name factory. So, you know.
That and getting asked 50 billion times a day. Can I get a picture? Can I get an autograph? Can I get a picture? Can I get an autograph? Yes.
Yeah, you would get sick of it pretty quickly.
Yeah. So real quick, before I start asking these questions, one thing I did meant to ask you is, where do you think Jack Miller's going?
That's a really good question. You know, half of me thinks that he's going to hang it up, you know, just because, you know, he's had a child and you know, obviously he loves what he does, but I think he's also quite a family man, and he'd have half a mind to hang the letters up and go live in Townsville and live the rest of his life. At the same time, I don't know. I think he's got a bit of dog in him, so he could go to. For sure, he's out of KTM. They might have him on as a test rider. I'm not sure. Or he could go to, I don't know, Honda, maybe.
I'd like to see him at Aprilia, not Honda.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. Maybe Honda might give him an offer that he can't refuse.
Of course, they always will. All that big bucks they got coming in, right? I'd love to see him in World Superbike or back in ASBK, because then he'll be at home, close to his house, and I would hate to see him hang it up, dude, because I love Thriller Miller. He is one of my absolute favorites for sure. Jackass Thriller Miller, baby. Let's go. Right. I got 2 Jack Miller hats. I got a couple t-shirts, a jacket. Yeah, I'm a huge Miller fan for sure.
That's sick. Yeah.
But anyway, so listen, dude, if you had your own island, your own private island where you lived, what's the one racetrack you'd have on your island?
I'd build my own racetrack. I'll take all the corners, the best corners around the world, and turn it into a racetrack.
I love it.
Yeah, divide it into one.
Yeah, it'd be hard just to pick one.
Yeah, but for sure I'd have it. Yeah, beachside. Yeah, 100%.
I like it. I like it. So let me ask you this: I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Obviously a lot of road racer books too, but there's other books I listen. Are you a reader or audiobook listener?
Yeah, I listen to. Well, I read autobiographies. It's the only really thing I'm interested in reading. autobiographies of writers, of just successful business people. Podcasts, for example, like I listen to the Oxley Bomb podcast. Those guys, they know what they're talking about, so that's pretty interesting to get an insight on those guys. Yeah. Other than that, that's about it. Yeah.
Have you read John Hopkins Leathered?
I've been wanting to, because I heard he's pretty wild, and he was pretty wild back in his day. So I would like to get a copy and have a listen to it. Yeah.
It is absolutely the best. I listen to any road racer that has an autobiography out there that I can get on Apple Books. I got it downloaded on my phone, and I listen to every single Michael Rudder, Ian Hutchinson, Guy Martin, John McGinnis, you name it. I got it. I listened to it. John Hopkins is hands down by far the best one. He's talking about smoking weed and then jumping on a MotoGP bike and racing it, right? Even if a rider did that, they're not going to say that shit in their autobiography, but John Hopkins lays it all out on the line. And I was like, holy shit, are you kidding me? That's what I loved about the book, man, is it's 100% honesty. The pain pill addiction, the alcoholism, the smoking the weed, all that comes out. And it's one of those books, Jack, that draw you in and you're like, just one more chapter or one more paragraph or one more page, and you're listening to it 3 hours in. It's 2:00 in the morning. And I got to get up at 4. So it's definitely one of those books.
I definitely want to give it a listen. Yeah, for sure.
You should. And trust me, you'll thank me. And that and Adrian Bourdain, his cooking book was really good because you see get to hear the inside life of how he started in cooking and all the drugs, sex, and rock and roll that goes on behind the kitchen. And you're thinking to yourself, like, I'm never going to eat at a restaurant again. Hell no, right? It's like, but it's a really good book too. As far as podcast goes, man, I don't listen to a whole lot of motorcycle podcasts. I listen to Oakley and Baum, like you said, Chasing the Racing. My good mate Dave Neal right here, Off Track, does all BSB. Moto PG, which is Australian, right? So big shout out to Boris, Tugs, and Fredo. I actually had all 3 of them on my podcast.
Fredo's a funny dude. I like him.
Fredo is he's definitely different. He's awesome, dude, for sure. But okay, let me ask you this: who's your favorite comedian?
Oh, Carl Barron is an Aussie dude. Carl Barron, he's hilarious. I gotta say.
Nice.
Do you know who he is?
I do not, but I'm gonna look him up on YouTube.
Yeah, look him up. If you want to learn about some Aussie culture, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. It's Carl what?
Carl Barron, Barron.
All right, I got it written down right now. When we get off here, I'm definitely gonna look him up on YouTube.
Yeah,
I love comedy. It's good stuff, man. So let me ask you this: what's your favorite food? Like, I don't mean your favorite food in general. You train a lot. You're a professional. You're a legend. So you got this strict diet, but you have a great weekend. You're doing a cheat meal. What's your cheat meal you're doing?
Well, I can't say that I'm on a strict diet all the time. It's more between like within 4 weeks of a race, I knuckle down so that I make sure that I'm getting the right nutrients. But my cheat meal, I would say pizza, souvlaki's. Over here, we have something called a HSP, which is basically kebab meat on chips with cheese and like garlic sauce.
Good.
Yeah, but like diet wise, like, well, for example, today I'll have a NutriBullet in the morning, which is just like a fruit blender with protein powder. I don't really eat breakfast. I just don't have an appetite in the morning, so I just have like a smoothie in the morning. And then for lunch, I'll either have rice and tuna, chicken, or any type of protein with some sort of carbohydrate. And then for dinner, I try and keep it to lean meats, but not always. But yeah.
So let me ask you this: are you a pineapple on pizza guy?
Hell no. I lived 2 years in Italy, and that's blasphemy over there.
Facts, right? And another thing is I'm a sauce eater, so I like spaghetti with like a lot of sauce. My mom come back from Italy. She's like, I'm gonna tell you, if you go there in Italy, they're not gonna put a lot of sauce on your spaghetti
No.
noodles. I was like, really? She's like, absolutely not. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to try. But yeah, I'm a sauce guy for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me ask you this, Jack. I ask everybody this: who's your celebrity crush?
Celebrity crush. What's that chick's name? Did you watch Mad Max, the latest one?
Yep.
Um,
I forget her name. I know who you're talking about. It's
with the nice eyes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Hold on, I'm gonna get her name.
Yes.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yes.
I think that's her name. Yeah, that's my celebrity crush.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So let me ask you this. Are you watching like a certain series on TV that you could recommend for people, like on Netflix or Apple TV or Amazon or anything like that?
Well, I just finished watching Fallout, which is like it's about like a post-nuclear
Yep.
world. That was pretty cool. Yeah, I try not to watch too much. I if I find something and I binge it, then I'll struggle to wake up the next day. So I try not to. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I do. I'm me and my wife are currently watching Ozark on Netflix.
Ozark. Yeah, I've heard that's good. Yeah.
Have you seen Breaking Bad?
Yeah, sure
Yeah,
have.
that's that. So Ozark's kind of like that. Like the first episode, dude, just listen. If you get 45 minutes, whenever, watch the first episode. It'll absolutely, you'll be like, holy shit, I gotta watch the next episode. It's one
Yeah.
of those that, yeah, absolutely draw you in.
Yeah.
So are you into any other type of sports at all? Like, do you watch basketball or Formula One
No.
racing or?
Well, it's funny. You know, a lot of people in Australia they love something called AFL, which is like American. It's like football, Aussie rules, Australian rules football. But I'm not a fan of it, but just because I've been around motorcycles my whole life. I became a fan of Formula One ever since in Italy I had a job where we were actually painting Leclerc's Ferrari's cars. So ever since then, I become a fan of Formula One. I don't watch every race, but you know, I'm a Forza Ferrari guy. Yeah, for sure.
So who's your F1 driver? Lecrack? Is he your favorite?
Leclerc.
Yeah, Lecrack. That's what I call him, Lecrack.
I'd say yeah, Charles Leclerc. Yeah, I love Leclerc.
Yeah, every time I say that, people laugh. They're like, you know what? That's actually pretty good. Good to say that. Lecrack. Yeah, it's
yeah. That's funny.
I like Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo. I always like Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, Oscar Piastri, like he grew up like a couple of suburbs away from me. You know,
nice.
And at one point we had the same manager, so he's a good bloke. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let me PlayStation or Xbox?
Don't have either.
Okay.
So I couldn't tell you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So are you Star Wars? Would you watch Star Wars?
Yeah.
What Star Wars character would you be?
Oh, Darth Vader.
Darth Vader. I love it, man.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. All right. So listen, we got to go back. Dude, tell us something we don't know about you. Have you thought about it?
Oh, jeez. I love watching space facts.
Nice.
Like things, I don't know, stuff about the universe fascinates me. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but like I could watch like a Netflix documentary on the universe, just like like a narrator, like a good narrator talking about the universe. I could watch it for like 3 hours, no problem.
Yeah, I like that. I like space. I like I like sharks and the ocean and the water and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
That stuff interests me. I can sit there. Like when Shark Week comes around, I love Shark Week. Me and my son were in front of the TV with popcorn, just been watching. Yeah, Shark Weeks. It's that, and I'm big into like Greek mythology. I love Greek mythology, like the Spartans, and I like the Egyptian stuff too, you know, Orias and all that temples and just learning the
Yeah.
whole cultures and what they did and all that stuff fascinates me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wish I had more time to invest in it. I don't, but that's something I can easily sit down for hours and watch too myself, man. So yeah. So listen, but before we get off here, I got one more question, and then we'll get to all the shout outs.
Far away.
If you could pick one superpower, what superpower would you pick?
To go back in time.
I love it. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good stuff. Listen, Jack, absolute honor to have you on the podcast. Before we get off here, tell everybody where they can follow you on social media, where they can come to the track and give you all the love and support.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone can follow me on Jack Mahaffy 37 on Instagram and Jack Mahaffy Racing on Facebook. It's a Facebook page. And yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone and thank yourself, Chris, for having me on. Yeah.
Dude, listen, the honor's on mine. I can't wait for part 2. So when I end this, just stay on for me a minute. We'll go ahead and schedule our next one. But listen, guys, this has been a lot of fun. As I said at the beginning, you're looking for a suit, look no further than bison.com. Use the discount code PINTOGAS 2024. Get 10% off all your merch. Big shout out to RD Racing, my good buddy Jake Marsh out there in BSB. They're racing this weekend. He has a Club 45. Sign up, show him all the love and support. He's an upcoming proper legend. Big shout out to my man Martin at the Clothing Kings. You guys can go to clothingking.co.uk and get all your Pin to Gas merch over there in the UK. Even if you're a rider looking for clothes and merchandise to be made, dude, they are absolutely amazing. They take care of it all. They process the order. You have no stock to hold. They brand the clothing, they package it, they ship it, and they pay you monthly. All you got to do is sign up. Absolute amazing deal. Proper mega lads. They are absolutely amazing. Big shout out to Chef Eat. So out here, Jack, we have this guy out here called Chef Eat. So he pre-makes meals that are microwavable for racers, and he caters them to whatever diet you have in mind, right? And they're some of the best meals you ever made. Like when you think of a microwavable steak and mashed potatoes, you're like, gross. It's just going to be dried and not no good. Absolutely not. It's amazing. If I didn't believe in it, I wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, listen, go sign up for Chef Eats. Of course, it's only here in America, not over there in Australia. But
You never
yeah,
know. Could come over.
facts. Absolutely. Well, listen, guys, I thank every single one of you for watching the podcast. If you had not got a chance yet, please go like and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. This episode will be uploaded. It'll be out everywhere but Apple. I'm not on Apple yet because I need a new laptop. So I'm getting ready to get one. So soon I will be on Apple too. But yeah, again, thank you guys so much for the love and support. Do me a favor, go follow Jack Mahaffy. He's an absolute up-and-coming legend. And yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Jack. It's an absolute honor.
Thanks, Chris. It was a pleasure. It was all mine.
Absolutely. All right, guys. I will see you guys soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. And everybody that commented, you guys are proper mega. Thank you. All right. Hang on one